Brotherhood and Life podcast. I guess that's what we're calling it. I'm Justin Gazba, because that's how you say it. And today I'm with Erik Hykal. And so we're just going to jump right in and jump to it. Erik, if you want to, tell folks a little bit about yourself, like a 30-second bio of where you went to school and kind of alma mater and that sort of stuff. And then we'll just jump into some other stuff. But for folks who haven't met you yet or don't know yet, we can just start there. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, it totally does. Hey, everyone. My name's Erik Hykal. Justin, thank you very much for having me on. I actually know Justin from going to the same school of Western Washington University up in Bellingham. Let's see, I am 27. I've been out of school for about 4 or 5 years now, and kind of have really, it seems like it hasn't been that long ago, but it really has. I went to school for business management, minored in economics, and then right outside of school, I've been done a lot of careers in advertising and marketing, and everything from sales. I currently work for a data analytics company, a little startup in Ballard called Analytics Pros, and we do marketing analytics on websites. But before that, I've been working with Amazon for a couple of years. I worked for an ad agency out in Denver, doing some marketing campaigns for McDonald's. And so I've kind of had the whole gamut of experience, but kind of excited to go over all of it, I guess.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I forgot that you spent time in Denver. I remember that was right after school. Could you spend a second touching on coming out of the fraternity and then just kind of how you ended up finding the fraternity, finding AK Psi, and then we'll just kind of go into how you found or how you came across all these different positions. They're all kind of within the same niche or whatever. But we'll just go back a little bit further.
Totally. So I found AK Psi just sort of by chance. I think it was a couple years after our chapter formed that I actually joined. I think it was about 2 years after the first class, and it was more of just a rumor that popped up for AK Psi as far as my knowing of it came about, because I was in the business program at our school, so I just heard some rumblings about just different organizations and clubs you could join. Someone mentioned AK Psi as a business fraternity, and I said, well, that sounds pretty interesting. So I went to I think it was a recruiting event, and me and another friend of mine who went to high school, Sean Nihei, who's also a brother, went, and we joined pretty much soon after that, and then I think I joined my sophomore year, and then finished out my whole school career with AK Psi. Within there, as far as positions, I think I did a couple committee chairs, and then my senior year, I was the VP of membership for a very, very quick growing chapter that we had, because we started off pretty small, but I think we've grown a lot since then. I don't quite know what the actual numbers are, but it was kind of fun to be in that position of really starting from a startup to a full mid-sized chapter now. So yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And so it's kind of always interesting because, you think of like your time back in chapter and you think of the friendships that you made and stuff. And then it always takes some prompting to realize like, oh, there was, even if you didn't have like a VP mem, there's some leadership stuff. And so I always find it interesting what people have done, now and connected through and those relationships and what they've done, in their current line of work as far as leadership goes, because you don't have to have your name on the door to be a leader, right? And so, well, tell us a little bit about because you've kind of worked in similar firms, right? Similar kind of data, companies and stuff like that, and sales positions throughout those. And I'm probably missing stuff in there, but how did you get lined up with that? How did you find some of the work that you're in now, or that line of work?
Yeah, it's funny that you kind of mentioned it. It was when you're in chapter, just like you said, it's not necessarily about being president or having a full leadership position there, but It's kind of the way chapter works is the same way your regular career works, is that you get out what you put in. It's almost like going to the gym. You get out the work that you put in. So the more effort that you put in the roles you take on and the leadership that you want to, you want to demonstrate either for yourself or for those around you. Opportunities hit you in the face all the time, and it's just all about snatching which ones look great to you. When I was my senior year of college, my first job that was in Denver was through a family friend of my family. Actually, he lives in Seattle and worked for a company called Maroc Partners, which is their main client is McDonald's, and that's where I went for. And they said they had an opening in their Denver office, so I went out and just kind of job shadowed, just because advertising is something that I was interested in school. Didn't really go. It wasn't really my major path, but it was still part of the whole business scheme. And went out there, job shadowed, and really liked what I saw, and they liked me. So they hired me that April and basically held the job until I graduated in June. And so I graduated on a Saturday, and then that following Monday, I packed up a U-Haul and ran off to Denver for a year, which was great, really great experience. Then it was more of not really wanting to be away from home, wanted to come back to Seattle. So I came back here, did a couple of I did another small job that was for a market research firm in Bellevue. Did that for a little while, and out of there, I got another friend of mine recommended me for a job at Amazon, which was a sales position. So I took that offer and went out there and worked at Amazon for a couple of years until eventually someone who I met at Amazon referred me to the company I'm with now, which is just a small tech startup. So I've kind of run the full gambit, and really it's all about those connections. It's like you said, every single opportunity that comes your way is from someone that and AKSI was an excellent way to meet more people, get better business connections, not just business connections but friends too. A lot of people,
100%,
included, still talking with you all the time now. So it's really great for networking, and that's what college is all about. You get your knowledge from it, and you get your 4 years of experience, but really it's about who you know and how you leverage those relationships. And
100%. I love that so much, because it really is one of the things that you don't realize. More and more, I think that people, it is, they say that you're the your success is based on the 5 people that you hang around with the most, right? That's kind of the average.
The average of your 5, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it's just a testament to, reaching out and connecting with people and building relationships. And so that was one of the things that I really wanted to touch on, was like, how do you found that job in Denver? So that was really through a family friend.
Yeah, it was, I had just kind of, when talking about like, I took a marketing class, really enjoyed it. And he's like, well, I work in advertising. Like, if you want, I can, if you want to fly out to Denver for a weekend, we can go check out an office. I took a day off of class, and went out there and job shadowed on a Monday, and had a great time, met everyone. And little did I know that he had kind of prefaced it to them as, this guy is coming out of college. He's a smart kid. You should, make it. I guess it was a pseudo interview, because after that they were like, we like you, you should come on board. And it's really about who you know. And then when I was at Amazon, funny that you mentioned like with AKSI and everything, but I mean, I probably met about 10 to 15 people on my team that are from different chapters. Like, and I was like, it was just kind of weird. You meet them as friends initially, and then you're like, oh, how do you know this person? Like, oh, we were in a business fraternity together. Like, yeah, that's the one. Like, oh, I was in chapter Wazoo, or I was in the chapter UW. It's pretty funny.
It's unintentional. It's unintentional, really, but you run into those people. I mean, it's unintentional unless you put some intention in it. But it is, and that's one of my first jobs out of college too. I submitted this resume. I think Eric Roser convinced me to do it, and when I got the phone call, got to talking, interview, and then she says, "So you're an AK Psi, huh?" I'm like, yep. She's like, "Yeah, me too. So I'll see you up here in April." And, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Because they kind of know what goes into it and the type of people it breeds. So it's kind of a great connection. It's really it's almost surprising of like the people. It's surprising and not surprising. The people that you meet. Successful people, and then you say like, "Oh, like what did you do in school?" I'm like, "Yeah, I did this and that," and then I've interviewed people before and I see AKSI on their resumes and it's like, that's an instant connection with someone who's interviewing you.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's a simple connection with that.
I was going to ask so when you made the decision to leave Denver, you were like, okay, this was a great experience, XYZ, but, Seattle is calling. Did you have work lined up or did you have any connections lined up before you came back? Or were you just coming home and then we're going to figure it out when you got here?
Nah, priority one was kind of just coming home. I wasn't extremely happy. I was the only person I knew in the state of Colorado. So just got a little homesick, I guess, from it. I knew it was going to be temporary when I was out there. It's a long way from home, and you don't really have a full support network out there when you're out there on your own. And I was fresh out of college and didn't really have like the full kind of experience of like what the corporate life was going to be like. So I decided to come back. Didn't really have anything lined up, but found something quick. It was that the market research place I worked for came up. I mean, I think I just found that through, regular online means of like, just submitting resumes to different places and, getting your callbacks, getting your interviews and putting in the work that way. But so that was actually, of all the jobs I've had, was the only one that wasn't, recommended to me from a person that worked there or, like a connection I knew. Everything else that I've done has been just through a friend or, colleague or family or someone. So it's, those connections, like you said, are really valuable, And
it's everything's relationships. Everything's relationships. You said one of my favorite sentences. You said putting in the work. I did it just by putting in the work. And I think that it's one of my favorite things when it's like, hey, guess what? It actually takes work. You're going to have to go, you're going to have to make some phone calls. You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to shake, all that stuff. And so
and it can suck too. It's not always fun, but one of the quotes I always say is that it takes 10 years to be an overnight success. Like those people that you see that invented this app and made $1 billion or even a musician or a comedian.
Unicorns. They're unicorns.
Any type of thing. No, they put in the work for 10 years. They've been working 10 years on this crap, and finally someone took notice of it, and there they are. That's kind of.
I thought you were talking about like the one hit wonders that come out of nowhere. Those guys are unicorns. But you're right. Yeah, most guys it's 10 years for sure.
Even the people that you think are one hit wonders or someone that just got a stroke of luck, that of course happens. But a lot of times you just don't realize what went into getting them to that spot where they got the opportunity.
Yeah, they've been working their face off for forever and ever. Yeah.
Yep. It's a lot of backroom work that no one really knows about.
Yeah. So you're kind of in startup land right now, the Seattle startup land, right? And so do you have guys that are people at your office that are doing side projects, or they're doing other kinds of other businesses other than focusing on kind of what you were doing? Because I know in startup culture, it's always, kind of, I've got, up to my knee here, but I got my toe in this other, in this other pool. Do you see that where you're at?
Yeah, it's totally that way, and that's what I actually like the most about it. I came from probably one of the biggest corporate cultures you can come from, which is Amazon.com, and then I went to a place that when I joined, I think I was employee number 17 or something like that, and it was full startup mentality of we've been in business for a couple of years, we have good connections, but whole lot of direction on where we're going. And then we hired a great CEO who really took the reins and started pointing us in the right direction. She's had a ton of experience. And she, started, really getting we kind of were all over the place business wise, but knew our core features, which is, Google Analytics and marketing analytics.
Yeah.
We're some of the best at it. But the problem is we just didn't have the business direction. We didn't have the organization. And that's what that's where those really business minded folks come in, that can really, really point your ship in the right direction. Now, to answer your question on different projects, it's constant. Even with my job, the best part about my job is that I can really make it what I want it to be. I can do just the general work that comes by my desk every day, but I can also look into a new process that'll make things faster, or look in a way that I can better leverage myself in my company, or make myself more valuable, not only just for me, but for our company as a whole. Because when you're in a startup, you don't really know, your success is really based on each individual person. If you're a cog in a machine of 80,000, it's you don't make a big difference one way or the other. When there's security in that, but there's also there's
layoffs.
Excitement. And there's also layoffs. But
yeah.
But when you're at a business that's it's all dependent on 20 people.
So let me ask you about that, because that's super interesting to me. Because if it's not a big firm, you don't have a ton of people, right? You got a lot of, it's obviously a growing firm, bringing in a CEO and doing a lot of work that way, and people, bringing different projects to the table, and maybe even people building stuff for themselves outside of the company, because it is a tech firm. But you said that you have a lot of opportunity to do other things and stuff like that. And so is that, are for people that don't know, or are you a coder? Are you a tech guy? Is that an avenue that, when you say that there's opportunity for you in this field, is it because of those things, or is it because of something else?
Yeah, no, that's actually the perfect question. So right now what I do is business and sales operations. So I came from, a lot of sales experience at Amazon, and a lot of, pipeline building and all that kind of stuff that, that's what they leverage me for, because they know what experience I have. But at the same time, coding and, web development and, a lot of online tracking and all that kind of stuff, it's a really interesting industry I work in. So yeah, on my own time, generally after work, usually on Wednesdays, I do about an hour of coding practice just through free online sources like codeacademy.com. I've been working a little bit on HTML, CSS, JavaScript. I am terrible at all of it, but I'm getting a little better each day. So that's
that's perfect.
That's the one thing that I've been working on. And for that, and the good part is that I work with the smartest developers and data scientists that I've ever met. And when I get hung up on something, for them, it's child's play. So I could go to them and be like, hey, I'm really not really sure how this works. I'm like, oh, it's simple. You just do this.
Yeah.
And
but so that's awesome.
You can always leverage the people around you, and really pick their brains on a lot of stuff. And it's fun. It's a lot of, really, really great way to learn.
Yeah, I think that's, and that's one of the things I wasn't sure what your answer was going to be, but I felt like that was the direction that we were going to head there. Because, well, a lot of people get themselves trapped in, I'm this and I do this, and I'm not going to taste it. I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to, do anything more, because that's not my space. Right. And, for somebody who, is in kind of a business development, sales, kind of role and stuff, I'm sure it helps for you to be able to speak the language to the people that you're talking to and know more about it. But two, put yourself in those positions where you're around a ton of people, who are, if the company's got to pivot or something comes out of it and everything changes directions, everybody knows that you're a hard worker, you get it. So, you're going to be one of those types of people that if all of a sudden the roller coaster starts heading up and it's going to get real exciting, you're on board with them.
Totally. Yeah, it's a lot like that. And it's one of my biggest fears is just being, like you said, you kind of mentioned it in the way of how people view themselves, of like, well, I've only been doing this for 10 years, so I don't really even want to dip my toes in anything else, because I want to just keep on the trajectory of where I'm going. Where I'm at right now, I've had a variety of different jobs, and it's, you know, no job's been the same. And I'm terrified of being pigeonholed into some, you know, into some specific role or some specific category, like sales or like operations or even, you know, web development. I don't want to be
stuck.
You know, stuck somewhere. It's kind of more. I'm constantly learning. That's how I always like to describe where I'm at in my job, is that I don't think anyone should be. There's another quote that I go off of is, when you define me, you negate me. Whereas if you define yourself as one thing, you negate yourself as something else. And it's, you know, you kind of lock yourself into a definition. So I want to be undefined. And I constantly want to be moving around and trying new things. And because you never know, I mean, eventually you might find something that.
Is that yours, or is that, who is that?
Is that my quote?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I could source that quote, but I'm sure.
I'm just gonna jot it down. It's gonna be Rad Hykal. That's what the quote is.
Hashtag Rad Hykal.
There you go.
So yeah, it's I'm constantly sticking and moving, and I think that's, you know, it's not necessarily everyone's path, but it's mine of really wanting to try new things and learn, because I never know what tomorrow I might find the best part of my job ever.
100%.
That I've never realized I could do.
100%.
That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, and so with that, I mean, you've got the ability to pivot. You're comfortable making a pivot if you have to, or you know, seeking out the new opportunity, or just even if it happens within the firm, which is awesome. Do you have any, like, have you kind of put together any kind of, like, man, if I could get this done in the next 3 years, something, you know, like, do you have any, like, big goals, or, you know, whether it's learning something new, or getting something under your belt, or anything like that, or a project that you've been like, man, I need a partner to help me make this thing, or anything like that? Have you thought of stuff like that?
Yeah. With all the coding stuff that I've been doing, there's been a lot of projects that, you know, kind of come from that. Really my big focus as far as projects is to be at least somewhat, I know it's a constant, it's like a lawyer or a doctor. They call it a practice for a reason, that you're constantly building and learning on it. So for me, that's kind of what my coding experience is. So I just want to continue to learn from that, at least be somewhat fluent in a few different you know, programming languages. That's just where I see my company and my future going. And because I have, you know, I went to school for business management, which is pretty much a study of people, and how they react, and how you, you know, how you're able to interact with them, and emotional intelligence. So I have that pretty well down, but what I don't have is the technical aspect of, you know, of where all of our industries are going. That's something that I want to grow to make myself a little bit more well-rounded, because in 10 years, if I'm able to, you know, articulate myself to people and sell myself, and but also have the, you know, the acumen to back it up, that you know, I'll be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, 100%. That's
really what I'm going for. So there's little. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, you said, you know, you use the sales word. A lot of people feel like that's a dirty word, but, you know, it's, you know, whether you're in a job interview, I mean, you're selling yourself, whether you're, you know, there's a guy that wrote a book called Sell or Be Sold. And basically the whole point of the book is you're either going to convince them that what you want to do is the right thing, or they're going to convince you somebody's selling something, no matter what it is, whether it's, hey, do you want to go get donuts? Or if it's, you know, something else.
You're either the seller or you're the product,
right?
In my world. So if you know, if you don't really want to be, you know, if you're the product, you're either giving a service, or you have some kind of value that a seller will love to have, you know, and would love to, you know, help you provide, or you can sell yourself. You know, sales, it does seem like such a taboo word, because you think sales and you think cold calling, or you think, you know, like that. And I've done cold calling. And it's not very fun, but it gives you, you know, it's sales is all just like, kind of like what we talked about in the beginning. You know, it's all about making people feel comfortable, making people like you, making people like what you do, like what your service is, you know.
Yeah, and if they need help and you've got the product, service, you've got some kind of something, it's help. Like, hey, I need help, you know, and then, well, I offer these products and services. Do you want to connect? Yeah, 100%. It's just, that's the thing is like, yeah, you could have the coolest app in the world, but if nobody's selling it, nobody's going to use it, right? I mean, there's nobody's going to know if you can't tell the world about it. And that's what that communication and those relationships are really about. So,
yeah. And even, and even internally, it's, oh, sorry, what was that?
Oh, I lost you. No, I lost you for half a second. You said even internally, and then we broke up.
All right, am I back?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Am I back? Even internally, when you're talking sales, like if you're a developer and you find a new process that would maybe help your company save $1 million down the line, it's something that you need to sell to your manager, or you need to sell a certain thing. It's how you move up in the world. So the world of sales, it's
that's it.
Not as dirty of a word as you believe.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
Do you like, okay, so you're at this company, do you guys, I don't know why I thought of this, but do you guys do you have like a rec, you know, do you guys have like an indoor soccer team, or do you guys do anything like that as a company, any kind of team building, like athletics or anything like that?
Well, we are a company of web developers, so the athletics portion is there. But we've done a few things like that. We've done some flag football in the past, a little bit of soccer. A lot of our team building it really comes at the direction of our CEO, and kind of like I said earlier, she's really put us on track to become like a good family and a good cohesive group. So we do regular meetings once a month with our whole staff, and I think we're close to 50 employees or so now, but a lot of our staff is remote all across the United States. We have people in New York and Austin, in Oregon, California. They're all over the map. So we try to at least have a full team meeting once a month, and then every quarter we have kind of a even more comprehensive where everyone comes on site and we do some kind of team building exercise.
Okay.
It be volunteering or kind of just a fun happy hour or event or dinner or something like that. So yeah, we do a lot of team building things. The rec athletics didn't really pan out as much as a lot of people weren't too interested in it. So
yeah, it's tough. I mean, can you hear me now? We're having good tech. I was just gonna say, yeah, with a small company like that, I thought maybe you guys would do something. I would imagine that like at a bigger firm, it's going to be harder to rally the troops, but like it might be easier to put on a softball game or something like that. So you never know what that looks like. But how about yourself? Do you do anything like? You got any Spartan races or any wicked awesome adventure stuff that you try to get done, try to do?
All the time. Yeah, I'm constantly trying like different things. Like if I get too bored during the regular week to just a basic routine of going to work, going to home, and going back to work that day. So I, especially during summer when we get weather like this, it makes me itchy if I'm inside for too long. So yeah, I usually do some flag football, some softball, soccer, all that kind of stuff. I haven't really tried any of. I don't know if I'm in quite the shape for a Spartan race, so I haven't really tried any of those. But I've been trying to do a little bit more traveling lately. I'm going back to in September for OctoberFest.
Oh, solid. Right on. Yes.
Which is going to be a lot of fun. So, working on that, a lot of, other little side projects, yeah, just trying to keep myself busy so I don't go stir crazy.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, yeah, shoot, man. I really appreciate you making the time for me and jumping online. Is there anything that you can think of that, when I reached out to you that you were like, oh man, I'd be excited to talk about this, or something that we started to touch on or didn't cover that you wanted to just touch on real quick?
Well, I mean, nothing too big. You know me, I can start talking people's ear off on any kind of specific topic, but I just really appreciate you having me on. So if you ever want me back and you want to deep dive into any, you and I can talk about anything for an hour. So
Yeah,
if you
100%.
want to talk about on any type of business or economics thing that you really want to dive into, I'd love
That
to
could
come
be
back
fun.
and do it again. Thing for me is really just content. Putting content out there and getting yourself out there through social media.
Yeah. Are you doing any content or any blogging or anything like that? I know
Not
I
yet.
follow
Working
you on
on that.
Instagram. I see Instagram and some, some of the adventures
Yeah,
the red hike,
those are a little bit more of the fun times.
yeah, but it's a highlight reel, but I enjoy it.
Put a little comedy out there and like little things like that
Yeah.
with using my social media for that and try to have a little bit more fun in the world. So serious these days, so I want to have a little more fun with it. But I think maybe some more content might be coming down the line.
That's awesome, dude. I'll be excited to see it. Is there is there a place that, if somebody heard something in this and they said, gosh, I want to know more about that company, or actually I'm looking at another firm or a place, is there an easy way for folks to reach out to you or connect with you? And, like we're talking about like leadership and the different roles and positions that you've played throughout the fraternity and just working your way up and through some of the different companies. I know that you'd have a lot of value to add to somebody if they had questions about kind of where to start and who to talk to. Is there what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best way for me is probably through my LinkedIn. My name is just Erik Hykal, ErikHykal. Yeah, just look me up on there, and let me know that you heard it from this, and you want to talk to me about this and that. I'm happy to connect with anyone who wants to dive into anything. And it's also got my contact info, so you'll be able to email me from there and connect me from there. So LinkedIn is usually the best way to get a hold of me. So
yeah, super pumped, man. Well, I'm going to see. If I'm tech savvy enough, I'll drop your LinkedIn into the notes or whatever. We'll see how tech savvy I am. This is, after all, episode 2. So, but I really appreciate you being on the show with me and visiting with everybody. And I definitely want to have you back and kind of, maybe we'll close out the summer or get you back after Germany and see how all that panned out for you. It'd be super fun. Well, cool, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, we're going to sign off and we'll talk to you soon.